Happy Saturday, everybody. Woo, 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 woo. I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. Welcome back to Venting with Us. I hope all those mommies had a great Mother's Day. It was all right weather. I wouldn't say it was gorgeous, but this Sunday's supposed to be 80 degrees, and you guys know that's my weather. So I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be tanning. I'm gonna try and tan. I'm gonna try. I'll keep you posted on that if I do or not. Plus, the beaches are free until next week because it's Memorial Weekend, which I'm very excited. Oh, 3-day weekend. Yes, yes, yes. So excited. But I hope everybody had a fabulous week. It goes so fast. Today's episode is probably the most I get very excited for certain documentaries when I talk about them, but this one by far has to be like maybe on my top 10 of excitement. Only because as I was watching this documentary about Monte Teo, who was a Chargers NFL football player, and he's no longer a football player. I don't know what he does now. I think he's in finance. I have two documentaries coming up too, by the way, about finance. I don't know what is going on about the finance, but something in the air. So, which the next episode will be Betrayal. What was it? Betrayal? The Kentucky Con Man. Yeah, that's what it is. This one was wild because I love the Kentucky Derby. Um, and me and my girlfriend Amanda always try and make plans so that way we can go every single year, and somehow it fumbles. But needless to say, that's going to be next week's episode. This week's episode, this one took me back because at a time where TV was exploding. Things, cable was coming more up to date. The times were changing. The internet was exploding. Social media was growing. You had Facebook, you had AOL at that time. You had all of these social media outlets that people can kind of communicate with you and reach out to you and uh, you know a, people use these for dating versus the dating apps. I still to this day say they don't work for me, but it is what it is. I do know people that it has worked for. I've spoken about this. But during a certain time back in the 2000s, it was Facebook. Facebook was growing, and people were using Messenger to connect with people. And around this time is when catfishing started slowly becoming in there, where people were pretending to be other people. Have you ever been catfished? I know I have not, at least from what I thought. I don't know. Maybe I was catfish. I don't know. But my thing is that I don't get too personal on social media. I have a firm rule that if you DM me, I'm not really going to speak to you. Don't even bother. I will read it and just be like block, but that's as far as I go. There have been a few times where, like if I'm talking on social media, I'll be like, yeah, just DM me, blah, blah, blah. And then I take conversations from there. But if you DM me, that's kind of hard. I don't know, because you just never know. Again, you may get catfish. Be like, I'm freaking Austin Butler. I want to date you. Oh my God. And then it turns out to be a freaking psychopath. You never know. I'm just saying, just saying. But this actually happened to this football player who was a part of the Chargers. His name is Manti. He was on social media. He was actually attending Notre Dame at the time, getting his football scholarship, and he was a rising star. He was just living his best life when Lene comes into his life. Now, he did probably what all of us have done, to make sure that this person is correct, that, he reached out to a couple of friends because he saw that she had connections with certain people that, that he knew. So he reached out to them. He's like, "Yeah, have you heard of this girl, Lene? She's beautiful. She's been reaching out to me. We've been talking for a little bit." And everybody in that circle all confirms, "Yeah, I know Lene. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's my homegirl, blah, 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 blah." There was one guy that said that he had dated her for a short period of time and then they broke up, but they always stood as friends. But like it didn't bother him if Monte had was speaking to her. So he was like, cool, 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 cool. So everything was good. Everything was dandy. He was going to school. And all of a sudden things start to get rocky. He's like, I would love to come and see you, of course. And now she's making up excuses. Oh, it's just I'm having difficult times. I don't know if I want you to see me like this. Let me just get myself situated and then you can come. And he was like, yeah, no, why, no problem. He lived in Hawaii. This was going to be an expensive trip. And it was always kind of like that banter going back and forth of now, see, that would have been my clue number one. Okay. Let me get a video chat. Let me like move around so I know it's not AI, even though AI was not like fully around at that time. But I would have just been like, I need a video chat. Like somebody show me something, and that would have just been the flag right there. But and he said that they did video chat each other at times. There was like, I think a couple of times, but it was so dark, he couldn't tell if it was her. So he just keeps going, and communicating with her, and they're all just like, and he's catching feelings now for her. And they would just, start text messaging back and forth, blah, blah, blah. December of 2012 strikes, okay? Poor Monte's grandmother, who had been sick for a good amount of time, passes away. Now, this is the day where it's his final season in Notre Dame, and he's gonna have a big, big football career. This is when they start getting ready to get drafted into the NFL, and he's dealing with this, and the coaches are like, maybe we give you some space a little bit, get your head before the main event. And he's like, no, 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 I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this for my grandmother, and and then on the same day, okay, he finds out that no, Lene has cancer and she dies. And he's literally on the phone with a family member, um, Renaui, yeah, Renaui, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm the cousin, and I just want to put the phone near her." So all he's hearing is this, guys. Like on the oxygen machines, right? So that's all he's hearing. He's saying this. He's explaining this in the documentary. By the way, pause. If you guys want to see this documentary, it is on Netflix. It's called "The Girl That Never Existed," the Monte Tale story. So if you want to see it, it's on Netflix. It's amazing. So he's on the phone with her. So this is all he's hearing is this breathing. Like, you got to be demented, if you're making this all up. And he's just like, now he's crying. And then all of a sudden it's flatlines. She dies. And he's now hysterical. He tells his parents what's going on. And the parents are like, what? What are you talking about? Like, who is this girl? And Monte says in the documentary, he's like, first of all, I didn't really want to fully tell my dad, especially because I had never met her, and we had been speaking for, years now, without actually meeting each other. And the dad is smart. He's like, yeah, I didn't know how I felt about this when he was explaining it to me. How is it your fault you fell in love with a girl that you never met? How do you know that she even exists? He was smart. He was smart because I would have said the same thing. I would be like, Monte, first of all we seen is pictures of her. We haven't seen her like in a video and whatnot. Okay, but and then he has recordings of her, so it's like legit or whatever. And he explains to the parents, yeah, she died, this is very upsetting. So boom, they're like supporting because, they're the supporting parents. And he seems like a really good kid from what in the documentary, they're like, he's never done anything bad. He's always had good grades, he's just always like been on point. So why would we not believe him, right? You got to trust the kids. Even when they do some dumb shit. So he keeps, he's getting ready for this major event in his life. And it's the big end of season game, right? The championship. And he's playing like he has never played before, right? Because now he's like, you know what? I gotta win this game. I gotta win this game. This game is for my grandmother, and this game is for Lene. I'm gonna do it for them. You know? So he goes, he plays the best game of his life. They win. And instead of him wanting to get drafted, he goes in for another year in college, which, they say, oh, that's the most crucial time. But, he did what he felt best for himself, and he wanted to finish college. He wanted to do all these great things. So he, now it's all over the news about this kid who won this big game, and he's on national TV like, yeah, I did this for my grandmother and my girlfriend who passed away on the same day, and this was for you guys. And he's giving out this a whole entire sprue, right? Like he is pouring his, like, I'm like watching this and I'm like, oh my God, how romantic. Oh, and NFL is like, just like, they show videos of people in Congress and they were like, Monte, we're just so proud of you. You gave everything that you got. We're so proud of you and the community of Hawaii. And, we love you. We're going to support you and everything. And this has become full blown nationwide news. Okay. Everybody knows this. This is the guy that lost his grandmother. Think he lost his girlfriend all on the same day. And then he won this big game, right? So now, here we go. Fast forward. He's living his best life now, right? He's not in the greatest space, but he's still living on. He's still communicating with Lene's family, right? And there's things that are happening. He's just, trying to make sure that they're okay. Straight up guy, first of all, I have to really say, like, for someone to continue to do that, that's like finding the needle in the haystack, It's like, that's the prince right there when you want a guy like that. That's straight up right there. So they still exist, ladies. So he's just going on. He's trying to finish school. Now, it becomes draft time. Okay. NFL is interested in Monte. They have been interested in him. And this is the moment I can only imagine as someone who has been working up to their career, especially in football, that you want to get on the best team, right? And right before this is happening, it's coming up. He's preparing for it. Again, he's keeping tabs on the family and seeing how they're doing and making sure that because she also threw in a niece in there, The niece would leave messages and whatnot. All of a sudden, he gets a phone call one day. The phone call is exactly like this. Hey, Monte, it's Lene, and I am still alive. He's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? You're still alive. She's like, yeah, I'm still alive. And he's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Like, I heard you like flatline. I heard the like oxygen in there. Like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? This this can't be real. And she's like, no, no, it's me, it's Lene. And he's like, you know what? All right, if this is Lene, right? Now my boy was smart, okay? And I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm at the end, I'm like, yeah, how we're gonna do this now? Like, how we're gonna revive this girl from the dead? Like, how we're gonna do this? How we're gonna do this? He's like, I want you to send me a picture of you with today's date, and I want you to write, I miss you, I love you, Monte, with showing the date. And you got this, or whatever the sign said. And she was like, all right, okay. Real bold confidence. All of a sudden, he receives this picture, and it's a picture of Lene holding the sign up with the date. Now he's bugging out. Now he's like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? Now, this had me for a moment as well. I was like, what? But why would you like make up this whole story? So she basically ends up telling him that they were involved, her and her family were involved in some criminal activity, right? And she had to go talk and make sure that everything like worked out and whatnot. And, now that the coast is clear, she can, communicate with him again. That she was so sorry that she didn't want to do that. And, it broke her heart to break his heart. And it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like this. And he's just like, I don't even know how to even like take this in. I don't know what to say. I don't even believe this whole entire story. All I know is that I have shit with a draft coming up. Like, I don't even know what to say, because now, like, this is going to be like the craziest story anybody has heard. Like. So he's there. He's like, I don't even know what to tell my parents at this point. I really don't. My parents are not going to believe this. And I just don't know what to say. So he ends up telling his parents, right? And all of a sudden, the parents, the dad, I'm telling you, the dad was smart. He was like, you know what? I'm going to look into this because something doesn't make any sense. Was there even an accident? Was there like the person in the hospital? Because she was still claiming that, she was in the hospital and all of this happened and there was an accident. They didn't find anything. Of course, they weren't going to find anything. The hospital, of course, they're not going to give any information because that's HIPAA. So, but they knew people of the real Lene, and they reached out to them and they were like, nah, that never happened. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Now the jig is starting to come up, right? So now he goes and he's like, now I have to tell my coach, because if anybody was to find this out, it's going to be a huge scandal, which by all means, I would have been shitting in my pants at this point. So all of a sudden, the newspaper starts to get a hold, like this low budget. I'm sorry, I'm freaking out because I see a spider, and I'm like, I hate bugs. I just see it in summertime. It's always the summertime. So this low budget, newspaper are like, all right, there's a story here. There may be something, but let's see. let's see what we can do with this, you know? So they start digging into this. They are looking into the girlfriend. They're looking into Monte because again, this draft is coming up and they want to see what more they can find about this Monte and these deaths that happen on the same day. And they're looking into it. They see, wait a minute, this girl does not exist. Who is this girl? So now they're researching, and you can photo flip the pictures, but the pictures were real. So they're just looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. And they stumble upon one picture that doesn't make sense. It's Renaya. They're like, who is Renaya? And how is Renaya linked to Lene? I know, so confusing. So they end up finding out that Lene is an actual real person, but Lene is not Lene. She's somebody else. And Renaya, who is a guy who was a trans, I forgot what his real name is, turned himself into a trans, and he named himself Renaya, actually stole Lene's identity and made this all up. But Renaya was actually Lene. So I know. Grenade right there. I know exactly how you guys are, because when they started piecing all of this together, I was like, what the fuck? This is like the biggest catfish on top of the catfish on top of the catfish. So all of a sudden, the news people reach out to Monte and they tell him, they explain all of this is what's happening. So now, before Monte had been able to speak to the coach because he wanted to make sure he wanted to get ahead of the story. Because remember, all at this point, all he has is that, okay, well, Lene is alive. How are we gonna like break the news on, this is a worldwide outlet on this. So he the news people call him and they say to him, okay, look, this is, they tell him the story, blah, blah, blah. Now he's like, okay, whatever. I got to soak this in. Now he's all fucked up because I would have been definitely fucked up. He's trying to like take it all in. And now he's like, okay, how am I going to tell my coach this? So he tells his coach, he breaks it all down. And the coach is like, all right, don't say anything. We got to get ahead of this story before it breaks. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was as he was in the midst of the draft picking, the news breaks because, they were like the people that had caught the story didn't want anybody else to catch the story. And then they have the big break on it, of course, makes sense. So they released the story. Now this has to be the worst, situation for him because now it's like there's news outlets. It's like hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, and the girlfriend is alive. And all of this stuff is going out there, and he's just like he can't believe it. So he does end up getting drafted into the NFL Chargers, but this story is still coming up. And every interview, it's the same thing. How do you feel? What happened to you about this hoax, about this person? Renaya actually ended up reaching out to him and leaving messages explaining how sorry she was that she did this. Now, here's the kicker. Here comes Dr. Phil. Like, what the fuck? Now we got Dr. Phil on this. Dr. Phil intervenes. He's like, this can't be a hoax. There's just no way that this man had this woman's voice. They actually had Renaya on the Dr. Phil show, and because he had to defend himself, he was like, you don't even understand. I really thought it was a woman. I never knew it was a man behind this fake person. She would leave me messages. Look, and he releases the voicemail messages. And Renaya, and then so she's like, and then he released the messages. What the fuck? I was like, bitch, like you came up with a whole story, not only, but you killed her, had a traumatic killing, like girl, like seriously, like how far did you think he was not gonna go to protect his whole entire reputation? Like I would have been like, yup, text messages, all of this shit, voicemail messages, and it sounded like a woman. So Dr. Phil, he's on Dr. Phil's show. And Dr. Phil's like, I want you to repeat the same message that you left on Monte Teo's on voicemail. So he does it. And they were like, yeah, it's 100% her. Like she's the person that created the messages. And they were like, it was like blown out. Dr. Phil was like, I just can't believe it. What do you mean? What are you talking about? These people, like this is when someone feels good in their skin, you could be anything that you want. I don't get this. But again, this was around a time where trans and being gay and being out there and, just expressing who you wanted to be in life and what you loved about yourself and how you wanted that freedom was not so taken like it is now. It wasn't very acceptable at that time. I think it's absolutely beautiful when someone's that comfortable in their skin and they know who they are and they come out. But Monte never talked to Renaya, and Renaya to this day, she feels sorry that she did what she did, but it was probably one of the biggest catfish scandals during the 2000 that a lot of people didn't know about and were very shocked about it because you didn't hear again. People probably got catfished multiple times, but just not in a big way like this. So, again, if you guys want to see this documentary, it is on Netflix. It's called "The Girlfriend That Did Not Exist." It is a phenomenal documentary. I hope you guys watch it. I will be back next week with the Kentucky Con Man betrayal. This is wild as well. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Go out there, get some sun in the fun, and do what you want. Some hamburgers, some frankfurters, all that good stuff. Drink, drink, drink. Love you guys, and I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Please, if anybody else out has anybody that's not watching the show, definitely recommend the show. Let's keep those followers going. Love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye.